And here we are, finally. How you doing, guys? This is Ray Glasser speaking to you from Cleveland, Ohio, on a very special day. Today is Sunday, June 14th, 2026. 50 years ago today, I made a purchase that changed my life in ways I could have never foreseen. Today is the golden anniversary of buying my very first Sony Betamax, and what a trip it's been, what a ride. This video will not be as long as the one I did 10 years ago in 2016. 10 years ago today, I did a kick-ass, very detailed, very extensive 3-hour video detailing my first 40 years in the video hobby. And I had some of my videophile friends with me on camera to talk about their experiences as well with the Sony Betamax and video collecting in general. 30 years ago today, in 1996, I did a similar video to this one, outlining my first 20 years in home video. And of course, I was living in Las Vegas back then. I'll be showing some clips in this video today, which should be under an hour, I'm thinking, that I have not used before. Other clips you will have seen on other celebratory videos. I remember seeing a commercial back in 1975 or 76 for the first Sony Betamax. And they said, if you can operate a cassette recorder and an alarm clock, you can operate a Betamax. And of course, what they meant was we had audio cassettes since the 60s. Well, these are video cassettes that work the same way. You put them in, hit the play button or the record button or whatever, and you're watching a video instead of just listening to music. And as far as the alarm clock, if you can set an alarm clock to wake up at a certain time, you can set a timer in a Sony Betamax to record a show while you're not home 24 hours in advance. And that was all true. And I did a lot of recording in those first 30 to 40 years, believe me. What's left is behind me here. This is what my Betamax library looks like here in 2026. I'm down to, I think, 444 tapes. These are tapes that are either very sentimental to me, they have significant historical memories for me personally, or there are TV shows or movies that are not available on pre-recorded anything, tape, disc, DVD, whatever. So I just can't get rid of those shows. And by the way, almost every tape on this wall was recorded by me or a friend of mine. You know, a lot of guys today here in 2026 are building libraries of pre-recorded videos that used to be sold or rented in video stores in years gone by. Well, everything here I recorded myself, and that's what kind of makes it special to me. Going back to this day in 1976, I was 28 years old. Well, today I'm 78. I was single. Today I'm married for the second time. Then I was living on the east side of Cleveland, Ohio. Today I'm living on the west side of Cleveland, Ohio. Back then I was working 6 nights a week in a very large restaurant. Here in 2026, I've been retired since late 2014 and no longer work. And the world's changed so much. Can you imagine a world in 1976 without the internet, without cell phones, without streaming music, without the world at your fingertips instantly? That was the world of the 70s. The only way we had entertainment was to either listen to the radio, watch TV, listen to records, or go to the movies. That was really it. We didn't have anything like we have today. And I, for one, embraced newer technology. I love where technology has gone in the last 50 years. And as I will tell you at the end of this video, these days I don't use these tapes at all. They still play fine, but I'm all DVD and Blu-ray and 4K videos now. So if I ever want to watch one of these tapes, I still have 2 working Japanese market Betamaxes, and I can watch them on those machines. It's funny how things have changed so much as far as the uses that Betamaxes and VHS machines are now enjoying. When these things first came out, they were made for one purpose, and that was to record off TV. That's why every Betamax and every VHS consumer machine has a built-in TV tuner, which of course are worthless today since those tuners are analog. Today's TV signals are digital, and they're incompatible with those old 1970s and 80s TV tuners. But these days, people use these as players. People say, I want a Betamax player, I want a VHS player, because all people do today is use these machines to play back old movies and TV shows and sports, whatever. It's just funny how the whole purpose of these VCRs has changed. You know, the R in VCR stands for video cassette recorder. These are recorders first and foremost, even though nobody records on them today. Anyway, let's go back 10 years ago today and look at what I looked like back then. I'm wearing this hat because I got a really bad haircut last week, and I don't want to show the world how lousy it looks, so I'm wearing a baseball cap today. Ohio State, Buckeyes, go Bucks. All right, this is the only time I'm going to be on camera today on this video. I'll be narrating the rest of the video and showing you again some clips you have not seen before. So I hope you will enjoy this whole tape. Again, I think it's going to run maybe an hour tops, maybe not. I don't know yet. But enjoy what follows and enjoy my golden Betamax anniversary, June 14th, 1976 to June 14th, 2026. Take care and so long from Cleveland, Ohio. All right, and after that fancy schmancy sizzle reel, here are the first couple seconds of my recording from that day in 2016. This is Ray Glasser on June 14th, 2016. It is about 3 p.m., and 40 years ago today, I made a purchase that absolutely changed my life and made me have the most obsessive and expensive hobby in my entire life, and that, of course, is video collecting. And after that 3.5-hour video, some of my friends who helped me in that project joined me for dinner at a pizza shop in Menor. It was exactly 20 years ago this very day that my life changed forever. That was the day that I bought my first Sony Betamax, hence the Sony shirt. So I'm going to tell the story one last time of why I bought a Betamax back in 1976. In 1975, I was working for a large deli restaurant on the east side of Cleveland called Corky and Lenny's. And I was working 6 nights a week from 5 to 1:30, and I couldn't watch network TV. So in 1975, I was in Columbus, Ohio, and my best friend took me down to a large department store in downtown Columbus called Lazarus, which was like Higbee's or May Company, whatever back then. And he showed me this gigundous console TV that Sony just brought out called the Betamax. And it had a 19-inch Trinitron TV, which back then was state-of-the-art, along with a 1-hour video cassette recorder called the Sony Betamax. Oh, I thought, well, this is great, and this would allow me to record TV shows when I'm not at home, but for $2,495, it was way out of my price range. So, in 1976, around February or March, I was in Higbee's in Cleveland, and I saw a standalone Betamax deck called the SL7200. And that was only $1,260 plus $40 extra for the optional clock timer. So I thought, this is more in line with what I can afford. So I began working a second job that summer to save up money to buy my Betamax. And 50 years ago today, June 14th, 1976, I made that purchase of my first Sony Betamax, the first of many, actually. And being the pack rat that I am, here's a receipt from 50 years ago today, from June 14th, 1976, from Higbee's, when I bought the Betamax with 5 blank K60 tapes. Now, you may be wondering, what did I record on that very first day of owning a Betamax? Well, what I recorded, I actually still have in my library here in 2026. Back then, my local CBS affiliate, WJW-TV, was showing reruns of All in the Family every weekday at 4 p.m. Now, back then, on Monday nights, All in the Family was still a primetime network TV show coming on at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And I remember thinking to myself, I think the intros from these different seasons were slightly different. Why don't I record them and see if I'm right? Well, I did, and I was. Now, here's that first recording from June 14th, 1976. And because YouTube will probably mute the audio or else give me a copyright violation, I'm going to give you only a few seconds of these first 2 intros from 50 years ago today.
UTV, Cleveland.
Glenn Miller played. The way Glenn Miller played.
And there you go. That recording is older than a lot of you watching this recording, I'm sure. The first time I was ever on camera, since I bought my first Betamax, was in May of 1977, when my good friend Gary Herman and I went to the Higbee store at Severance Center in Cleveland, Ohio, and we actually did a bunch of recordings that I was going to send out to people whom I was dubbing tapes for, kind of like an intro and an outro to make their tape personalized. And we recorded this on the Sony console Betamax that was on sale at Higbee's using the optional black and white camera. So here I am from 1977.
Take 2. This is Ray Glasser speaking from Cleveland. I am real, and now here's your Betamax dubbing request. Take 8. Hello once again, Ray Glasser from Cleveland. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen on this tape up to this point. And now as the tape runs out, enjoy a couple dubs from various items from my Betamax library. Thank you and happy viewing.
Well, in late 1977, I got a surprise in the mail in the form of a Betamax tape from a guy I was trading with in Orlando, Florida, named Kerry Decker, and this is what he sent me totally by surprise.
This is WKKD, Orlando.
Hey there, Ray. How you doing? You're sitting here at your TV set watching me. Yeah, I can see you. Hi there, Ray. I'm Kerry Decker, and I'm here taping to you in glorious black and white from Orlando, Florida. And this is actually take 2. I'll tell you about my mighty blunder, which I made in just a few minutes.
And that was the beginning of a very long friendship that lasted until 2009, when Kerry unfortunately passed away from a heart attack. Kerry and I became very close friends. I visited him in Orlando numerous times, and he even came up to Cleveland twice to see me. In about 1982, Kerry began doing a homegrown local cable TV show called The Nightlife Show, and asked me if I could send him small snippets of information from Cleveland, and I would call it the Cleveland Tech Report, talking about home video, collecting tapes, doing camera videos, how to organize a library, whatever. So here is one of my tech reports from, I think, 1981 or 82.
Well, hi there. My name is Ray Glasser, and I'm a good friend of Kerry Decker's, who's producing this nightlife show. Kerry asked me to do some stuff on videotape for you regarding the videotape hobby, which I'm also into quite heavily. Anyway, I thought I'd give you a short introductory tape about myself, about my involvement with the home videotape hobby, and a general bird's eye view of what I do, what I collect, and what my knowledge spans in this hobby. I'll be giving you some short shows on this nightlife show from time to time regarding the hobby itself, some of the finer points of the hobby, things regarding videotape collecting, videotape trading, and Kerry asked me to call this show the Cleveland Tech Report. Now, I'm not a technician by any means, but I have some degree of expertise in the hobby regarding the tapes and the machines themselves. Anyway, that's all for later. First, about myself, my name is Ray Glasser. I'm 33 years old. I live on the east side of Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a meat cutter in the largest deli in Cleveland, Corky and Lenny's, for those of you who get up here once in a while. And I'm married and have 2 kids, and I've been with this hobby since the beginning, way back in 1976. I bought my first Betamax in June of 76. That was a Sony SL7200, and since that time I've come to amass not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Betamax machines, each for a different purpose. Over the years, I've collected quite a large number of tapes. I've been trading with people all across the land, in all walks of life. They span all age groups, all vocations and careers, and it's been quite an exciting hobby. I found that home videotaping, the hobby itself, can be one of these hobbies that you can go as far as you want into it. You can be the neophyte who just buys one machine, may tape 1 or 2 TV shows off the air a week or a month, and collect a couple dozen tapes, doesn't do any kind of trading, and that's it. Or you can go to the other end of the spectrum and have 8 or 10 machines, do a lot of trading, a lot of dubbing, spend vast amounts of money on postage, phone calls, machine repair, buying blank tapes, and the like. I think I'm somewhere in between. It's a semi-full-time hobby with me. I don't go crazy over it, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm one of these guys that likes the idea of being able to watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it. And to that end, I think this hobby is more or less tailor-made for me and people like me who really think that there's a lot of junk on TV right now. And if you're watching this show, you kind of think that too, because you've got cable TV, and you are seeing a lot of channels that are not right in Florida. You're also seeing some channels that are made for a certain audience, and you want more than just the average TV fare. Well, I'm the same way. Now, I haven't got cable here in Cleveland where I live, unfortunately. There is one large cable company in Cleveland called Viacom Telerama, which has not come to my area yet. But, of course, if it does reach me someday, I'll be sure to grab it as soon as I can. But I have many contacts around the country that have things like Home Box Office, Showtime, the Z Channel, Wometco Home Theater up in New York, and the like. And it's through people like this and their kindness and their generosity, and they're willing to spend time on this hobby, that can supply me with programming I couldn't otherwise see here in Cleveland.
Yep, the nightlife show lasted about 4 or 5 years on Orlando Cablevision. In 1978, in March, I made what apparently is the world's first unboxing video. I had just gotten my second Betamax, an industrial SLO 320 model, and I wanted to open it up on camera in case I ever had to repack it and ship it back to Sony for repairs. I wanted to know how it was packed. There was no YouTube back then, no internet, so I made it strictly for myself. Well, when I was on YouTube for the first time in 2007, I uploaded this thing, and apparently it is the world's oldest unboxing video. And here is part of it in living black and white.
Not seeing this machine yet. Up on top.
How many people see a new video machine open up?
Notice the packing. Go back and forth in the packing, yes. In case I ever have to repack it. Kind of the other way. SLO 320. Got all kinds of nice stuff there. And here we go. Smells pretty bad to me. Oh, okay. I'll pull the whole thing out. Oh, it's just the white. In case this tape runs out, we'll both be very sorry. Look how tiny this thing is. And there it is. There it is. Just like in the picture.
1976, I discovered a magazine that gave me a jump start in trading and collecting. It was called the Videophiles Newsletter, later to be called the Videophile, published by Jim Lowe of Tallahassee, Florida, who sent it out by subscription only to Betamax collectors and eventually to VHS collectors as well. I made a lot of friends from this newsletter. I got a lot of tape trading and collecting done, and we even put an ad in the newsletter from the newly formed Video Collectors of Ohio, which was a loose-knit group of myself and Gary Herman and some other video collectors here in the Cleveland area. This magazine, over its lifespan of 4 or 5 years, brought a lot of people together from coast to coast and even made some long-lasting friendships in the process. A lot of fun back then. For the first couple of years, every time I amassed another 100 tapes, which I called another milestone, I used to record it on video, labeling that tape 200, 300, 400, whatever. So here I am in 1978 labeling on camera tape number 200.
Hello there. I'm Ray Glasser on March 6, 1978. And this is a momentous occasion in the history of the Ray Glasser collection. Tonight, you will see me labeling the second milestone. Gary Herman is on camera, and he will be photographing me as I do this. Now, Gary's going to show you my library as it stands as of today, March 6, 1978. That's it. 9 tomato boxes holding 2 cases each. That's 24 Betamax tapes. The last case down here is not yet complete.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is exciting. I don't know what to say. There it is.
All right.
There we go.
There it is. 200. And there we have tape number 200, The Prisoner Fallout, the last episode. Actually, I have more than 200 tapes. If you go over here, next case, these have just come in within the last week, the first week of March. And I must say, it looks kind of funny to see it, too, as being the first digit instead of the second or third. But it feels good. $3,000. $3,000 worth of tapes. Unbelievable. The question is, 10 months ago, I hit number 100. 10 months later, 200. When will I hit 300? How long will it take this time? It took 10 months to go 100 tapes. Maybe it'll only take 6 or maybe even 4 this time. Who's to say?
Boy, that was a long time ago for sure. I mentioned a few minutes ago the Video Collectors of Ohio, and we also had conventions. We actually had conventions in Fremont, Ohio. One of the members of the VCO owned a Ramada Inn up there long ago, and he gave us use of the ballroom, and we also got a reduced room rate for the weekend. And a bunch of us left from Cleveland, and others from Detroit met in Fremont, and we had an entire 2.5 days of dubbing and drinking and laughing and having a lot of fun. This is the picture of the VCO in 1979 at possibly our very first video convention. I think we had 5 that went from 1979 through 1981. And here is the biggest one we had, I think was the second. We had, I think, 45 people there from not just Ohio and Michigan. We have people that we traded with thanks to the Video Files newsletter. They came with Columbus, Ohio. It was a big deal, and we had a lot of fun back then. Here's one of my favorite moments from one of the last video cons, as we called them, with my good friend, Win Rosenberg, who passed away years ago, and also Steve Comet, who also passed away a few years ago. Art Volo's still with us, thankfully. And this is Win Rosenberg, known as the Mud, when he worked in Cleveland radio back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And he cracked us up. Check out this video. This is the kind of fun we had at these video cons back in the day.
Yeah, can we get Mr. Mudd over here, Mr. Win Rosenberg and Mr. Steve? Now, come on, you guys. Now, you gotta be a sport. All right, these are the radio people walking right in front of the camera. Didn't they do something like this the last time? You know, they walked right in front of the camera. Who do we have?
Steve Comet.
Known as the
Steve
video
Comet.
file.
Ah, the video file, right. The guy in the shadows on Channel 5.
On Channel 5.
Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I've got a dub of it.
And I had everyone here in the room call me and said, hey, I saw you on TV tonight, so it didn't do a darn bit of good.
And?
Win Rosenberg.
Where do you work with?
I work at WDMT in Cleveland.
108 stereo. You're a disco connection, but I should wear my Disco Sucks t-shirt from FM 104 in Toledo. That would have been... Anyway, what do you think of this one compared to others, real quickly here?
Disco sucks, right, yeah.
Why do they call you Mr. Media?
Why? Because I'm supposed to know something about the business that I'm in, but it's really just a con game. I don't know a damn thing about it, but, you know. You getting any good stuff? You enjoying it?
We just had some down the bar, some really good stuff. Now we're gonna get some movies.
There is no semblance of order here. I'd like to get the few that we didn't get on, and I didn't get my best friend on. Get over here, you klutz! Here, get in here. Let go. Who are you holding?
I'm not holding on to anybody.
All right. This is probably one of the closest friends I have in the entire world.
Not so. I'm from New York, remember?
Stu Solid Goldsberg.
If you're not liquid, what are you? Solid. Who's this?
Hey, I don't know. He just wants to always sit there and get in the picture.
I don't
Well, you
understand.
never know. It's a high Jewish holiday.
Is he from New York?
Huh? I don't know, but I'd like to. Anyway, listen, Stu. Stu was here a week ago. We had to fly him back to make sure he'd come back again. What the heck are you doing? Is he doing something behind me that? No. Anyway, Stu came all the way back. You came back.
Did you come back?
I came back.
Yeah, is that why you got those rings under your
Get
eyes?
outta
I don't
here,
understand.
yeah. Anyway, what do you think of this one compared to the last one that we had?
I think it's a good one compared to the last one that would come from New York. You can make it from California, right?
Yeah, Joe should be here. I tell you, wouldn't that be the highlight to get Joe Mazzini and Mark Wheelodge together? All right. Well, listen. Thank you for coming.
Well, happy birthday, Art, and thank you.
Very much.
See you soon. Bye.
Good friend. All right. Listen. You know, we could really gross out the camera if we unzip this right now. Did we get everybody on this thing? We didn't. We forgot Bill Franklin. Then we're gonna wrap this.
This is a muscular chest. This.
Hey, Don. Hi, Hibby. Riley. Here, quickly, because we're running late. Here, look at this. Proud as a peacock. Get a shot of that shirt. Come on in on there. Okay, Don Riley's from WKMI, right? Where's that?
You got it, Kalamazoo, and I want to be the first to say shit, hell, and damn on your tape, Art.
What do you think of this? I have completely lost control.
You got it.
What did you? Come on, before you go back to.
You've got a good radio voice.
Thank you. I ought to do disco someday.
You were doing disco, and it didn't work, did it?
No, it didn't.
Anyway.
Disco sucks.
All right,
Oh, sorry.
Well, not all the video conventions were that much fun, but we did have a lot of fun thanks to the people who attended them. In October of 1978, I finally did a video library tour in living color. A friend of mine brought over a very good Sony color camera, and I did a tape-by-tape tour of my collection as it stood in October of 1978.
Hi there, I'm Ray Glasser, and this is our famous tour in color of my Betamax library. What I'll show you is how I organize and collect my tapes, how I categorize them, and you'll also see tape by tape what movies and TV shows I have in my Betamax collection as of today, October 30th, 1978. First of all, some people think these are used to hold 30 pounds of tomatoes. Well, they're wrong. These are used to hold 24 Betamax tapes because each box up here holds exactly 24 Betamax tapes, as you see. Okay, this is the way that I organize the collection. Each tape has got a Dymo label on it with different color codes. TV shows such as this, or this one over here, are on a blue Dymo label tape. If I tape the show myself and I know when it was taped, I put the date down here on a smaller label in green. Movies are in red, and again, if I taped it here myself or a friend taped it, the date is in green. When I get a dub from somebody else and I don't know when it was taped, such as King Kong here from 1933, the label is centered on the Betamax label. So we have blue for TV shows, red for movies, and over here, any special tapes like Ray and Gary on Camera and my Star Trek bloopers are on a green label.
I did many of these tape-by-tape video tours of my library over the years, and I actually did my last one in November 2025. My library is now shrunken down to 444 tapes that I just cannot get rid of. In 1981, I began going to the Winter Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and I had a ball at these things. I met a lot of my video friends there that came in from all parts of the country, and we walked the aisles of the convention center looking at all the new Betamaxes and the new TVs and the new stereo systems that were out. It was a lot of fun, and I did this between 1981 and 2015 almost every year, and they were a ball. Here's a quick clip of the very first one I went to in January of 1981 when the video file actually had a booth there.
From the Las Vegas Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Ray Glasser along with Art Volo here at the 1981 Winter CES Show. We'll be showing you some of the highlights as to what's been going on here at the Winter CES, as well as some of the more interesting and video-oriented booths and displays.
Started it yourself. Here, I thought I was going to have that prestigious honor anyway. Behind me, you see this thing is getting very heavy.
In May of 1986, I had what I called my first claim to fame. I was actually featured in a national publication. I was in the USA Today Sunday magazine with picture showing my SLJ7, my first Japanese Betamax, and it was a little story about me and my involvement with home video collecting and all that. The magazine heard of me because one of the authors was actually a guy I was trading tapes with, and he remembered me, and he suggested doing a story on me. So he interviewed me over the phone. The company sent up a photographer from Columbus to take this picture, and it was really an ego trip being in a national magazine. It was really cool. In 1989, I had what I called my first Betamax casualty. I think the third Betamax I ever bought was a Zenith JR9000W. That was my first X1, X2 machine, since people were all going to X2 when it came out in 1978. But I like the wood grain look of the Zenith. I heard it was built by Sony, so I'm sure it was a good machine, just like the Sonys were. Boy, was I wrong. That machine cost me a lot of money in repairs over the years. I did have it modified in two ways. I had the muting circuit cut, so I got an instant picture when I pressed play. Plus, I had the machine go into force X1 or X2 playback, where the record selector was also the playback selector. So if I put that record switch in X2, it played back X2 no matter what speed the tape was recorded at, and made things a lot quicker. Anyway, that machine had a lot of tracking problems over the years. The picture quality was pretty bad. So in 1989, I dumped it with the garbage in the winter, as you'll see right here.
Let's see what we got here. Well, here we are. Let's see. Alrighty. Not quite the right time, but it is the right date. This is showing you trash on the street corner. Okay. By my house. Something unique about this pile of trash, though. Look what's next to it. That's right, folks, the first VCR casualty. I am indeed throwing out my Zenith Betamax, the SL8200 model, otherwise known as the JR9000W, that I got in 1978 for about $899. Okay, it's going to the junk pile. It's where it belongs. Maybe a lot of tapes, but also has made me a lot of headaches. And just not worth fixing. So here I stand, about 12 midnight, on a snow-laden tree lawn in front of my house. There it is. Late at night in the garbage pile. And there rests the Zenith. May she rest in peace. And with this, we bid adieu to the first Betamax casualty in my family. Good night now.
In 1992, I discovered another trade show to go to that was even more fun than the Consumer Electronics Show, and that was the VSDA show. The VSDA was the Video Software Dealer Association of America, which was comprised of mom-and-pop video stores all across the land before Blockbuster Video dominated the tape rental market. Big video distributors and studios were there, along with the attendees from privately owned video stores around the country. Movie stars were there, TV stars were there hawking their newest releases, and this show was a ball. It ran for 4 days in July in Las Vegas in the 1990s. I think I attended about 4 or 5 of these shows, and they were a ball. So here's a bunch of pictures that now go back, in some cases, over 30 years. Let's see who we have here. Marilyn Chambers. Remember her? Porno star. Let's show the autographs. This is the late Brian James, who starred in a lot of movies for Trauma, Troma. A lot of B movies. He's actually a pretty good actor. And here's John Waters, famous for Pink Flamingos and some other really disgusting films. But, yeah, really cool guy in person, though. Here's a classic, Steve Allen. If you have any age on you at all, you'll know who Steve Allen is. Hosted a lot of shows back in the 50s and 60s, and he was the host of the very first Tonight Show back in, I think, 1961. This is Tommy Bond from the Little Rascals, believe it or not. Over here, the very charming Joan London, who was the first host of Good Morning America, and was also doing a workout video. Here's one of those teenage heartthrobs from the 50s, Tab Hunter, who actually had a movie out in the 90s. And from Animal House, here's a late Stephen Furst, who passed away a good number of years ago. And the star of my favorite movie, Forbidden Planet, the late Leslie Nielsen. This guy needs no introduction at all. This guy we lost fairly recently. This is Ron Howard's brother, Clint Howard, who passed away only a few years ago, I think. Now here's a classic, Tony Curtis. Here's actress Shelley Duvall, who had a series on Showtime called Mrs. Pigglewiggle. Another actress popular in the 80s and 90s, Morgan Brittany. And on this wall are some biggies. Here's Jean Stapleton, a.k.a. Edith Bunker. And she's gone as well. And I met some Star Trek people. Yeah. Here's James Doohan, otherwise known as Scotty. George Takei, Zulu. Here's Angie Dickinson. You might remember her from Policewoman. Here's Tippi Hedren, starred in The Birds. Okay, some more Star Trek people. Here's Terry Farrell, who's almost 6 feet tall. Bates McFadden, who's actually from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Here's the charming Marina Sirtis. Here's everyone's favorite Borg, Alice Krieg. Here's a man I met twice, Michael Dorn, a.k.a. Worf. One of the VSDA shows had an E.T. reunion, so I got to meet D. Wallace Stone and Henry Thomas and Robert McNaughton. He's up there. From Battlestar Galactica, Richard Hatch. And last but not least, soap opera queen Susan Lucci. How cool are these? In 1997, when I was living in Las Vegas, I actually published my first website called the Ultimate Betamax Information Guide. I learned how to use Microsoft Front Page and actually how to create a website from scratch. I really had a lot of fun doing it. Over the years, people asked me, when did this Betamax model come out, and how much did this one cost, and when did they introduce the Beta 3-speed, things like that. So I thought, I'm going to publish a website and just list all this information in that site. All the Betamax machines from beginning to end, when they were released, the new features they introduced, the original suggested price, and all that kind of stuff. And people still refer to this website today, betainfoguide.net, and it's still up on the net. And this picture of me was taken in 2006 and is on the homepage of my Beta Info Guide website, showing my library when it was intact on one wall, 7 rows of tapes, 2,500 Betamax tapes, most of which are long gone. In 2007, I discovered a new website called YouTube, where you could actually upload videos from any source you wanted. I thought this would be a great way to share some of my most unique videos from my Betamax library with the world. So here, in part, is my very first YouTube video from 2007. Hi there. I'm Ray Glasser, speaking to you from Cleveland, Ohio, in March of 2007. And this is my introductory video to YouTube. I've been on YouTube for a couple of weeks now, uploading videos about the Betamax video format, and I thought it's time that I came on camera and told you who I am, what I'm doing here, and where my interests lie. Way back in 1975, my best friend in Columbus, Ohio, whom I'll never forgive for this, showed me this piece of gear at a downtown Columbus department store. It was called the Sony Betamax. It included a 19-inch Sony Trinitron TV and, behind the smoke glass lid, a 1-hour Betamax. Here's an overhead shot of the Betamax inside this unit. Now this Beta records only 1-hour tapes at the 1-hour X1 Beta speed. But this is what actually began the home video revolution way back in 1975. Now the rest of this console has 2 TV tuners, so you can watch one show on one channel while you're recording a second show on another channel. It also has a mic input and an input for a black and white camera. It's also got a clock, and this is the old leaf-style clock that was prevalent in the 70s, so you can time and record a show while you're not home. Well, in 1975, I was working night shift in a restaurant, and I could not afford this big Betamax down here, which cost $2,495. When Sony brought out this a year later in 1976 for only $1,300, that I could afford. And this way I could tape shows that I was missing at night while I was working and playing back anytime I wanted to. So, with this Betamax, which is the SL7200, I began building my video library. So on June 1st of 1976, I got my first Betamax, along with 5 blank Betamax tapes. Well, there it is, tape number 1 up on the wall from June of 1976. And between then and now, this is what it grew to. One entire wall of Betamax tapes. I now have 2,500 tapes on this wall here in my video room, and I'm still collecting, although I have to admit now I collect on DVD. Throughout the years, as I was collecting on Betamax, I taped a lot of TV series, and the last one that I taped with any regularity was Smallville from the early 2000s. I've always liked the whole Superman Clark Kent thing ever since I was a kid, and I watched the George Reeves series in the 50s, and this was a really good interpretation of the early years of Superman when he was still Superboy. So Smallville, last series I taped from I think 2001 through 2009, and I still have about 16 tapes off the air, of course with commercials cut. Over the last 10 years or so, I've been interviewed, and actually some of my early video pioneer friends have been as well, for various documentaries about home video, video stores, and the like. There's a documentary that I think is still not finished called Plastic Movies Rewound that actually featured Art Volo and myself, and our good friend Mark Wheelage as well. Here's Art Volo talking about his run-in with the FBI way back in the 1970s.
In 1 year, as I recall, I think I did 9 talk shows on home video. I remember one time I did a talk show and we were talking about the FBI and how you're not supposed to record movies that are, that you weren't supposed to have, and copyright violations and all this. And I'm on the air absolutely telling everybody, don't do stupid things, and kind of sending them down the right road, I thought, at least on this talk show in Flint. Now, early the next morning, and I was half asleep, the phone rings, and the guy says, this is the FBI, and we want to talk to you about home video and want to come out to see you. The guys did come out to my house. I don't think I had anything really illegal in the house. I mean, I may have had something that was not totally kosher. I just stashed that stuff away.
And they came over and interviewed me in Cleveland, Art in Detroit, and our good friend Mark Wheelage in Los Angeles. And here's a few clips of me and Mark from this documentary. I'm Ray Glasser, Cleveland, Ohio. I've been collecting on video since 1976, one of the first true Betamax collectors, I guess you could say. And as of right now, in 2016, I still have 2,000 Betamax tapes, and I have lots of blank Betamax tapes. So if Sony stopped making tapes earlier this year, doesn't matter. I'll never run out of blank tapes. So that was VHS Revolution. One last documentary I'm going to show you just a few minutes of is one that's still in the works as far as I know, and this was done in 2023. Hey there, this is Ray Glasser speaking to you from Cleveland, Ohio on Tuesday, October 24th, 2023, and we're going to talk about my years in home video. I've been asked why I documented my life on video. And A, I'm glad I did. B, I did it because I could. I wanted to see how I changed and grew over the years. I saw myself grow older, obviously, between the 1970s and today and 2023. But I've also got, like I said earlier, people on tape that are long gone. I have places I've been to that are long gone. And it's actually a documentary of my life in video, and my life with other friends and family that, again, are ancient history, but they're so precious to me. They're close to my heart, and I'm very glad I have them on tape. And look at the videos now, it's like you could cry because you see someone the way they were in 1985, and they're long gone. But it's so realistic to see them on a tape I made so long ago. It's very moving and very precious to me. And lastly, in 2010, I created a group on Facebook called Beta is Better. And it's got over 5,000 members worldwide right now. Very proud of that. And it's actually a great place where people help each other looking for certain Betamax tapes, certain movies, certain TV shows, how to fix a Betamax, how can I repair this or that. It's been a wonderful experience, and I hope this thing goes on for a very, very long time. Since I helped a few filmmakers over the years who were doing documentaries about home video, they put me in the IMDb. So now I am there forever. When I'm gone, I'll still be on the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. And that brings us to 2026. What am I doing with Betamax these days? Virtually nothing. I hate to admit it, but hey, I've gone DVD all the way. DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K, that's what I watch. My Betamax tapes are sitting in an air-conditioned bedroom here in my house on the west side of Cleveland. They're going to last forever. And if I ever feel like watching one or two, I will watch them. What do I have left in the way of Betamaxes? Well, I actually have 2 Japanese market Betamaxes. They're both Sony's. They're both Super Beta and Hi-Fi. My favorite is the SLHF 3000, which is the Japanese equivalent of the SLHF 1000, which has always been my favorite Betamax ever since I saw it in 1987. The other is a strange hybrid. It's the SLHF 1000D, a Japanese market-only machine that never really made it to the States. It's a cross between the SLHF 750 and the SLHF 1000. It's got the 6.0 megahertz high band recording of the 1000 and that weird slide-out drawer of the 750. It's a great machine. They both work fine. And when I feel like watching a Betamax tape, that's what I use. What am I watching on? A 50-inch Samsung 4K UHD Smart TV. And what I am going to do, just to show you what a 50-year-old tape looks like, up next to end this video, I'm going to actually play tape number 1 in my Betamax library, which is now 50 years old. All right, here we go. Hit the play button and see what it looks like 50 years later on a big HD TV. This is now 50 years old today. And what do you know? It's playing just fine. There we go. There's proof. Betamax tapes do hold up.